Good morning. Should I say good night? Okay, this is a very important message about the chemical trails and about them blocking sources that we didn't never think existed from the eye. The eye. They don't want the public eye to see certain things. So they say they using mist, the water. We don't know what it is, but we know that certain chemicals and certain gases cause you to feel a certain type of way. Okay, that's why when you smoke weed, you feel good. When you smoke cigarettes, some people don't like that. They don't feel good smoking tobacco. So you got companies came out with you need help quitting, 1-800-QUIT now and all this other stuff because sometimes people need help getting rid of the dangerous gases that they're putting into their bodies because it becomes addictive. So what I wanted to talk about was the fact that this is around the time because it is April, soon to be May. This is the time that you see the flowers and things begin to form. The flowers, the beautiful flowers and the trees and things of that nature. But what I was going to talk about was the fact that you have the sun is out according to waking up looking at the sky. It's out, but for some reason it's dark, and something's causing that. Okay, something is causing the sun to be blocked, okay, at certain times. The reason why people do this, or scientists got together to figure out ways of making it to where it's though on a day when it's supposed to be 90 or 80 degrees, they have a way of making it 30 degrees, 20 degrees. A lot of people putting them on blast. The CERN machine, which is a machine that taps into Etherian's life. Basically, it taps into ether. They wanted to know what's up there, and then they seen the face of God. And then, NASA showed the face of God and said, okay, well, this is a spiritual world. There's a big man up there watching down over here because we took a picture of him. The hand of God. Now, if you know that there's God up there, and that's doing everything, then the next question is, well, how can I be a God? This is what these people are trying to figure out. How can I be of like God? If I can control the weather, if I can control people, if I can control their thoughts, if I can control them, then that means that I am like God because I can do the things that God can do. So when it's cold and it's freezing, that's not of God. Because God is warm, God is love, God is energy, God is powerful, God is the reason why we are here. You know what I'm saying? Now, a lot of people, would say, well, I'm not supposed to be here. This wasn't the type of world for me. But at the end of the day, once you're born, you're still a little energy. You may not have a whole bunch of energy, but you're still a little part of energy. So when you die, people want to go to heaven. People want to float back up there to the skies where they came from, okay? So this is what I wanted to be known. In the crack of the sky, you see where the light source is. It's obviously light up there, and it's shining over top of this dark cloud that we have. We have dark clouds. Dark clouds and stuff like that is formed from evils. Like, it's not like... Okay, at night, even at night, if you notice when the moon comes out and stuff like that, on summer days you can still spend the night outside. It's not going to be like extremely cold because it's been hot all day and the heat collects inside of the earth to make it a little bit warm. You know what I'm saying? And in the wintertime, we cut the heat on so that we can have a false energetic energy in the house to keep us warm, you know what I'm saying? And it all makes a lot of sense that energy comes from the ground, where the soil and stuff is. Energy comes from the sky too, into the ground, and penetrates the ground and gives life, and stuff that's inside the ground comes up and stuff. Once this penetration, like sex, You stick it in, you hump a couple times. Next thing you know, you give life. That's what the sun does. If you look at the sun, if you look at it like that, you're looking at the highest form of energy. So when it gets to days like this, where we had a lot of rain yesterday and precipitation, it was and then today is cold. Okay, people need to understand with the type of times that we're in. I can't say that the CERN machine or the heart machine is tampering with the sun, but I can say that they're tampering with the energies that the sun provides. They're tapping into that, and then they know how to cut light to a certain way, to where as though if you cut the light and stuff like that, and you split it up, and then this light goes over there, but nothing goes over there, So what I think is, like, when you go to California, or you go to Florida, or you go to a state in the South where the sun is supposed to be at, you're noticing that the sun is shining really bright, really bright. And, I know I'm not the first person that noticed this, but here later years, it's getting hotter in those states where the sun is at. It's getting hotter. And in areas where, you're used to having regular systems, it's getting to be wintertime for longer periods of time. Okay, you have the sun for a little while. What is it? June, July, August, September. That's 4 months that you have the sun, because it's 12 months in a year. So every season is supposed to be 4 months: summer, winter, spring, and fall. Okay, so actually, if you do it like that, you gotta divide it up to see. It's like a 3 months and a half for each. It's 3 months. It's 3 months for the season. It's supposed to be 3 months that the seasons stay in effect like that, if you know what I'm saying. This is April, so you're expecting it to get really moist and rain. Really moist and rain. You know what I'm saying? Because you just went through a winter where, things were frozen and things got cold. So, of course, when you look at a regular seasonal change, regular, seasons, you will notice that after summertime, there's fall, of course. It's fall. So, and fall doesn't last that long. A couple of months, boom, it's gone, and it gets a little cold. Okay, so what I noticed is that this, around October-ish, okay, it was still a little bit sort of hot in October, but it got a little cold in October, Halloween, after October 31st, after Halloween, that's when the jackets and stuff come on, because September is still hot, in September, and then October come, and it's supposed to get a little bit warmer, okay? So what I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying, y'all. These people have a way of making it winter all year round. If they wanted to make it cold all year round to satisfy their needs, that's what they would do. Because forget if we need the sun as a black race of people. Fuck the fact that you like the sun. It's about the fact that the sun is not working for some people. They don't like it. You know what I'm saying? So are these people sitting up here trying to kill the sun to see if we can survive without a sun? And so if you was to do that, then where's your sun? So where's your energy going to come from? Where's your source of energy going to come from if you destroy our sun and our solar planet? Well, it would come from the earth. Because like they said, the earth is another part of a sun, a blue sun. You know what I'm saying? That they just right now, it's packed with a lot of things, just like a regular sun has. This earth has everything that sun has. Everything has the same thing that the next man got. Like, I got the same stuff. This one got different, So what I'm saying is this. If you just take a look at how dark it is, right? And this time of the day, it's this time of the daylight. And it's like, it's like no sun is shining. You know what I'm saying? Now, Washington, D.C. does have days like where, the sun doesn't shine. But what I'm saying is that when in certain areas of this world, you look up at your sky and you know the sun was supposed to come up, the sun penetrates through the clouds and shines through the clouds. That's what the sun do. However, a brighter question would be this. If, one day you wake up in the morning and the sun is right above your parking lot, or the sun is right above your church or your school, and you can look up and it's right there. Boom. And the next day come and it's not there. And the next day come and it's further away. And then next thing you know, you calculate all the days. You start writing it down where the sun was at. The east coast, the west, which way was it? This is what these people are doing every day. Studying the planets, studying, the orbital planets and stuff like that. And, so my question is this. Solar panels, they existed millions of years ago. Just a certain type of form of a solar panel where you suck energy down. Has anybody ever thought about the fact that you got a lot of things sucking in the energy and nothing putting energy back up into the sun? You're not putting energy back. So basically, when it burns like a candle until the candle goes out, because it's no more there. So if you have people sucking and draining it and draining it and draining it, and eventually it spins to another direction. And then it spins to another direction. And then eventually it's back where it needs to be. Okay, that's what I'm saying. As race people, it's our job as African Americans to make sure that the planet is working right. It's our job to make sure the sun is shining. It's our job to make sure the rain is falling. And what that means is that you have to be intelligent enough to know that you need trees because trees make gas and they put the gas into the sky. That's the purpose of plants. That's the purpose of trees. Okay? Trees is very important because if we don't have any of those, if we don't have any trees, and all you're putting is dangerous gases into the air, and the trees are working very hard to balance out the oxygen level that we have, because they create oxygen, because without trees you wouldn't have no oxygen. Okay, let's get that straight. So if oxygen is something that comes from trees and plants and things, and they're being destroyed, and they're being destroyed on a large scale, and you're putting up buildings and replace the trees, you're putting up these fake false natural things and stuff that is not natural, and the energy comes down. And then you got your solar panels charging it up. What people need to, always take into consideration is that everything must die. Everything must die. Everything must come to an end. I'm not saying that our sun is dying, but what I'm saying is that it's not staying out as long as it used to stay out. And right there, that's what I wanted to see. That's what I wanted you guys to see. You see that? That's a light source right there in that cloud. There's light above that cloud. I could say that somewhere in the world, the sun is shining at an angle that we can't see. Hold on one moment. Now, to be continued. If you look at that light source right there, and you can see what I'm talking about, I'm going to give you an explanation, okay, of how people are tampering with the weather for what they want to tamper with it for, and you got to look at where you located in the world. If you in a foreign country, I guarantee you got a lot of sunlight probably, but in some countries where they can control the weather, they make it so that the sun doesn't shine in some neighborhoods, and if they want to make it rain, they can make it rain, and they know how to do a lot of things that we didn't think that they would be able to do using these high technology solar planes that they're using. Basically, the CERN is nothing but a large solar panel that basically it sucks in particles and stuff, and breaks those particles down to see what those particles do. Particles that we can't see through the human eye, or maybe particles that we are made out of. You know, they take particles that we made out of, that formed us, and put it in the machine and see if you put pressure on it. What happens if you put pressure on it? What happens if you blow it up? What happens if you do this? Okay, so what they was able to find was the maker of this world is what they was able to find when the CERN machine cut on. You had to be there. If you go all the way up there into the sky and you look and you take pictures of everything, you already know there's a God. You already know there's a God. But you want to know, if God is able to make it rain for 40 days and 40 nights, how can I make it rain for 40 days and 40 nights so I can drown these people? How can I do that shit? How can I make it rain? How can I make it snow? Okay? Basically, okay, Antarctica, a large frozen piece of ice and stuff like that, where it's supposed to be cold, Alaska and stuff, is melting so that I believe they can see what's underneath of the Antarctica. And like they said, you got all these diseases, dangerous killing agents, killing machines. It's underneath the earth from years ago. You know, people had diseases and they froze that stuff. It got frozen to keep us safe. There's diseases inside the earth to keep us from getting sick. You know, God froze that stuff and killed whatever it was and froze it with his elements, God's elements, fire, ice, and wind, and water. And he took and froze that stuff to keep us from dying from dangerous diseases that, you know, if you put a little bit of heat to it and heat it up, you got Ebola. Or you got something dangerous, you know. And so now what I'm saying is this. What I'm saying is that, okay, you don't go from one day it being 90 degrees and the next day it's 20 degrees. It just doesn't happen like that. Because if the sun was over here yesterday, you mean to tell me we spent around 360 and made it in another area? You know what I'm saying? So one day it's going to be cold, and the next day it's going to be hot, and the next day it's going to be cold, and the next day it's going to be hot because of the manipulation of the weather. That's what they are doing, manipulating the weather. You know what I'm saying? As a HARP machine, you send electricity signals up there to see if you can tap into another electronic system. You know, let's be 100 about it. Like they said, we know how to make it rain, the HARP machine. We are controlling the weather, okay? So at the end of the day, when you look up in your sky and you see a light source that is being blocked or something's blocking the sun, and even if it's a cloud, the clouds cannot block the sun because at the end of the day, the sun is bright enough to burst through that cloud. It's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? So if the whole Washington, D.C. and Maryland and Virginia is dark today, when will it be light again? You know, when will we have some light again? You know, that's when you go look at the calendar, look at the weather, and that's when, you know, they tell you for the rest of the week, we already know it's going to be hot tomorrow, it's going to be cold the next day, it's going to be hot the next day, it's going to be hot two days straight. Why is it going to be hot 2 days straight? How do you know that this is going to be what it's going to be unless you have already done something to make it that way? So you already know 5 days from now it's going to be 80 degrees because what? You're working on something? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. You got different levels of this universe, and you got different levels of machines, and some machines do serious stuff. And some machines don't do that much. Like your microwave, all it does is just warm the food up. It's plugged in the wall. You warm the food up. You see what I'm saying? But basically, if the sun ain't coming out when it's supposed to, it can affect the plants. It can affect the trees and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And basically, what I think they do is basically they have a way of blocking the sun's energy from us. Or I think that they put chemicals into the sky to cover the light source. To cover the light source. You know what I'm saying? I think it's been going on for a while. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, you can have a snowstorm come, and it could be a big snowstorm. You know what I'm saying? You can have a rainstorm come, and you can have a big rainstorm. Somewhere, something formed. It formed, and then boom, it got to the point where the earth couldn't handle it no more, or the sky can't handle it no more. So it makes its own weather. and it tries to go against it, but it's like it's hard because you help create something. You help create the heat that we need to make it rain. You help created all that heat, chemical trails and things going up into the sky. Next thing you know, you get a big rainstorm or whatever, or it could be they send electricity up there to shock the sun. I don't know whether they charges it up or what the fuck. But I think this is what I think. I think that this day, this cold and gloomy day, is not natural. I don't think this is natural. Because the sun shines over the world, correct? Right, so it doesn't matter if it was over here one day and the next day it was over there. You still should see some form of light. You still should see some form of electricity coming from your sky. You should not just wake up in the morning every day and it's just dark like this, dark like this, dark like this. Now, it'll be like this all day long because I already did research. It's going to be dark like this all day long. It's not going to be any sunlight. And that's the thing about living in America. You're not in Africa where it's nice and hot. And that's why Africa goes through a lot of heartache and pain, because you got 24-hour, heat. You got 24-hour heat. You see what I'm saying? And then for some places, it can be a little too hot. So you have to find underground things to make so that the heat doesn't touch you underground. You see what I'm saying? That's why our ancestors lived inside the earth, because the earth is a safe place sometimes when you have a lot of dangerous weather. You see what I'm saying? But on days like this, when it is strictly cold, I think the chemical trails help make it cold like this. Because just yesterday, it was a little warm. You see what I'm saying? The sun was in this area. Now today, it's like it's nowhere to be found. It's dark, gloomy clouds just covering everything, So everybody just focus on that. Just focus on, you see the light source up there? That's that light that's trying to break through, but for some reason it has some dark cloud stuff around it. The temperature also affects it. It's a cold, gloomy temperature day, And so this is what we do over here in America. We hope that the sun can make it to us sometime. You know what I'm saying? Because right now I wouldn't even be jogging in this. It's too cold for your bones. It's literally 30, 40 degrees. And I'm looking at the sky because this is where you expect the sun to come out into the sky. You expect it. You expect it. You don't expect to go ride around the whole Maryland, D.C., and Virginia. You don't expect to see no sun. That's like crazy. But because we are where we at, located in the world where, there's a lot of scientists in this area. There's a lot of doctors in this area. There's a lot of people who, for whatever reason, they love the earth. They try to, NASA, Virginia, they try to tell us the truth about what's going on out there sometimes. And sometimes they keep stuff from us to keep the public from feeling afraid. You see what I'm saying? By June, July, what we're hoping to see is every day the sun out and shining every day. We don't expect for June to come and it still be cold. You see what I'm saying? So be aware of that. Be aware of it may not shine every day this summer. It could be more storms, whatever. And you have to pray harder because it's like you're not getting any energy. And it's like it's cold. So you got to cuddle up and stuff like that. Protect yourself a little bit more when it's cold.